Hi everybody! Hi Tamar! So today we're gonna do a video about the most burning topic of conversation among Game of Thrones viewers and fans, the decline in quality. A lot of people are pissed. This season has been rocky, but after episode 8, I think like 90% of our commenters were very upset.
Yeah.
And disappointed. So basically we decided to
Clickbait.
break it down and to open it up, Itamar.
Clickbait.
Game of Thrones has been for the past 6 years maybe the #1 pop culture worldwide phenomenon. Not only Americans watch it, and now you are watching two Israelis talking about an American TV show that was shot all around the world with an international cast. It basically created a whole new industry of content, which you are watching now, one of its premier examples. These past 2 seasons, without his story to base the show, it has become like a more regular, standard TV show. And people started to make fun of Ramsay's hounds in the first episode of the season that magically disappeared.
And the teleportation.
People getting to one place from another place, like in...
Yeah. For book readers, the experience of watching the show, from the start you already make a compromise. You need to simplify it
Right.
for the audience.
Right.
You need to make a lot of compromises. And so, of course, we understand we're not book purists. We
Right.
don't care that Daenerys doesn't have purple eyes
Or silver hair.
and that Tyrion didn't lost his nose. We don't care about that at all, at all.
For me, I started with the show, and after season 3, I started to read the books. So when I was watching the first 3 seasons, it was kind of hard to follow all the details that are out there. So the fact that it was simpler, it made me be able to follow it without my head exploding because it's already so complex.
Yeah, and some of the compromises they did really worked and were very nice. For example, the dialogues between Tywin Lannister and Arya.
Which were not there in the
Were
books.
not in the books. In the books, it's Roose Bolton
With Arya.
with Arya. The fact that they showed us the point of view of Cersei and Jaime from the start.
Right.
And like told us, it's gray. They're
Right.
not the evil characters you think they are.
They also made a big change when they had Brienne killing the Hound and not how it happened in the books.
Those were good decisions by the showmakers.
Right. So basically, sometimes it's good to dumb things down if your basis for your whole story is basically a masterpiece, an incredible story.
It becomes a problem when you start to dumb down the already dumbed down
Right.
story. That makes the show like a regular TV show, like an action TV show without the depth that made this story very, very popular. Daenerys, for example, you see her going through a process from a scared little girl to this conqueror, and you can't really tell what happens inside of her,
Right.
like her, insecurity and stuff like that. Jon came back to life.
How does it feel about that?
Yeah,
we
it
don't know.
always doesn't speak.
And even his surroundings, nobody is saying anything about the fact that he came back to life. Like it's not a topic of conversation, that he's weird.
And
the action parts with Arya, that was like a low point, I think.
Yeah.
This was the main reason people were upset. They were like, what is this Terminator shit in this Game of Thrones world? Because we love like the second Terminator when he's running after them because it makes sense in that world.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense in this world to have the waif running like a robot and
supposed to
Arya.
be no one as well.
Right, and Arya being stabbed repeatedly. She's supposed to be dead, and then the day after she's running around.
Yeah, and don't get me started on Tyrion.
Okay, I won't.
I will do it anyway. Tyrion.
Spit it out, you wee shit!
If you're only show watchers, so of course a lot of times you are tired of hearing about the books and the changes from the books, but let's understand something. When they write the show, it's after they have read the books probably 100 times. Millions of people have read them, and there are some stories there that are absolutely incredible. And some of the changes in the past 2 seasons don't make any sense from a storytelling point of view. Maybe the prime example that I can think of right now, because we haven't talked about it at all before, so this is the first time I'm talking about it. Like in season 5, when Drogon came in to save the day and save Daenerys. In the books, when he came over, first you saw a shadow going over the stadium. And then there was silence, incredible silence. And then he swept in. But here they showed you Drogon coming over from afar. And
During a fight.
During a fight, and then he's coming. Like, why not do the shadow thing? It's incredible television. It's super cinematic. So just use it. It's already there. You know it's there. I said, okay, no. Instead of having the shadow, I will make him coming over from afar and just he screams.
Exactly when she needs him.
So I think this example shows that this is not only about dumbing down or changing things from the books or adapting one source material to another medium, whatever. This example shows that they made a conscious decision to write the same story in a different way because they believe that their way
it wasn't better.
It wasn't better.
You can see that from their reactions to criticism.
Right.
Like with gratuitous sex scenes.
Or gratuitous violence.
Or gratuitous violence. It's like, yeah, it's a violent world, and what do you want from us? You are the hypocrite. So it's like they are under attack, and they're defiant.
Right.
They do scenes
arrogant
even, and now they have their Emmy, so they got the pat from on the back from the industry.
Yeah. So who are you to say anything?
We got an Emmy like Frasier, 5 times in a row.
It wasn't 5 times in a row.
When Dan and Dave pitched the show to the audience, to the media, they said it will be a Sopranos in Middle Earth. So the audience had the expectation for a quality show, an HBO flagship show like The Sopranos. A very deep story with very deep characters.
Very nuanced.
Moral ambiguous, you know.
Right.
And with Middle Earth, which is a total fantasy, but very deep and detailed fantasy world.
Right. Realistic
world, yeah.
With some fantasy elements.
Yeah.
So basically, I think that if you start off with the show is like good, like, I don't know, Walking Dead or whatever.
It's still good, Walking Dead.
It's still good, but then when something stupid happens, then okay, then you fall from here, you fall to here. But when you start off here and you fall, the fall takes very long and the crash is hard and bloody.
And then we'll never
messy.
Walk again.
But they will fly.
No, they will not fly.
But they will be resurrected. Okay, so let's get to our bold prediction of this video. We haven't had a bold prediction segment for a long time. Okay, so what's your bold prediction for Game of Thrones going forward?
It's still a great story.
Incredible story.
Incredible story. Tremendous story. It has great words, tremendous words. Kant, Schopenhauer.
A very good cast, and some of the actors are absolutely outstanding.
And we know about a month ago, the president of programming in HBO got sacked.
Sacked.
Because he sacked. Sacked.
I got it, Itamar. I got it.
This was the guy that, brought HBO to unprecedented popularity.
Right.
In the last 30 years, with all the great shows it produced.
The best show.
The best
most tremendous shows.
Yeah.
Really like the most tremendous. But in the last few years, they had a few shows that bombed. And HBO's competitors like Netflix and Showtime and Amazon and whatever, they're producing really, really good shows. Better shows than HBO. So they felt like they had to make a change.
So maybe this new guy will hire a staff of writers, will be like checks and balances to the Dan and Dave, like dictator and dictator.
Because the job of the other writers in the writing room is basically whenever someone proposes a plot or an anecdote or whatever, is to pick it apart to make sure that it's solid, that the writing is solid and you don't have botched scenes and things that you miss. Because if you've ever written something, you know that once you write it, you're blind to like 50% of the holes in the story. You need someone from outside to oversee it. It doesn't mean that you're a weak writer. It doesn't mean
No,
that.
no.
It doesn't mean. I
no.
told you that doesn't mean.
Okay, Gil, it's okay. You're a bad writer. You know, imagine a meeting like that in the last season. So Dan and Dave will say, "Oh, what you need is a bad pussy." Seriously? The Danish plotline could have been saved. So either they will hire these new writers that will, you know, confront Dan and Dave and say, "You suck at what you do," or maybe they will go like to India and drop some acid and do some meditation and say, "Oh yeah, we need to let go of our ego and let the story write itself because it's a good story."
Great story.
And not put on all the time pussy and titties and you know, gratuitous sex scenes and stuff like that, or it will become an average TV show
With highs and lows.
yeah, with highs and lows, with nerdgasms and nerd spasms, with strikes and gutters, you know.
Let's hope and pray, each to his own god, or spaghetti monster, or other pasta monsters, that HBO hires an experienced room of writers that have written in other really good show, and then the show will thrive in the last 2 seasons. Let's hope and pray. Okay, so let's wrap it up. If you enjoyed the video, please click like. It helps our videos get more views. If you agree with us, if you disagree, if you have a whole different line of thinking, be sure to mention in the comments. And if you want to sponsor our channel and help us make as many videos as we can for as long as possible, there's a link in our description to our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/GoT Academy. We also have very cool extra content just for you patrons. And if you want to be reminded how awesome and complex this story is, watch our Maester's conspiracy theory. This basically will tell you how we see the story and where it's going, like the big things. So subscribe to get all our videos, and we'll see you next time. Bye everybody.